If you've been watching this video for ideas for a possible science fair experiment, that's awesome, but I want to give you a warning. Everything that you've seen me do in this video has been a science demonstration, not a science experiment. The difference is that when you do a science experiment, like you'll be required for your school science fair, you need to follow the scientific process, which means you need to ask a question. This is the problem that you want to solve. You want to do research. This could be going online, could be watching this video, could also be going to the library, and all the science books in the library are in the 507.8 section. Then you want to create a hypothesis. Your hypothesis is your best educated guess for what you expect to see happen. Then you're going to conduct the experiment. You're probably going to have to take data in. You may have to measure time, weight, volume, whatever it may be. Then you're going to evaluate those results and compare it back to your hypothesis. Decide if your hypothesis was correct or incorrect. You may have to go through that little circle of adjusting your hypothesis and reconducting the experiment a couple times. Finally, come to a conclusion, state the conclusion, share the results on your trifold brochure. And that's following the scientific process. Now, you can take any of the demonstrations that I've done in this video and convert them into an experiment if you follow that process. Here's a little example. The layered liquids that I did very early on, where it has the sugar water, regular water floating on top, cooking oil floating on top, and then the rubbing alcohol at the very top. If you wanted to convert that into an experiment, your hypothesis could be, I believe that I can determine the density of liquids knowing two things: the volume that the liquid takes up and the weight. And then you could have all different types of liquids like ketchup, soy sauce, pop. Get all of these into different containers, and they don't even have to be labeled, but then you have to make sure you take the same volume for each liquid, and you have to have an accurate way of measuring it, and then you could determine the density of those objects as far as kilograms per liter or whatever measurements you decide to use. Oh, one little tip. Real scientists always use the metric system. So instead of using a cup of liquid, you might use 100 milliliters of a liquid or a liter of a liquid. Instead of using pounds, you're going to measure it in kilograms or milligrams or grams. So be thinking like a scientist and have a lot of fun with these projects.